Hey everybody, this here is Big Will, and welcome to. Okay, well, I still haven't figured out a name for it, but welcome to what's the title? The wheel landed on guns of all topics, so that's what we're talking about today. And I got a couple people in here to help me talk about it, or you know, well, we'll find out. This is one of those topics that's kind of we'll hopefully stay live the entire time. But anyway, we got Rob Boswell.
What's up?
And we got Bubs Comics.
I don't know how I feel about following Rob Boswell's top billing. I gotta tell
We got Bubs Comics and Rob Boswell.
you.
I feel
Come on, guys.
Oh, so how's your Friday going, fellas?
excellent,
Yeah, going good so far. Don't change it.
right?
All right. We got at least one person watching, William Smallwood. What's going on, William? I am a William as well. So, when I first hit you guys up with the topic, what was your initial reaction? Because if I hit somebody up from California, their first reaction would probably be, "Why are you thinking of me?" So, what was your first reaction when I was like, "Hey, you want to talk about guns?"
Well, I'll let Rob go first.
my first, thanks. Hey, my first thought was, which gun do you want to talk about? So I've got a multitude. I've got a large collection myself. They just unfortunately, and it lost a lot of them in a boating accident while I was fishing. So, but other than that, yeah, we can talk all kinds of guns. So I was kind of excited actually. So.
Nice. I was on. I think it might have been a replay. I don't know if it was live, but I feel like I was watching you and JB. Talking about you, Will, and JB, either on your channel or his channel, going over CGC submissions or maybe books that came back or CBCS or something like that. And then I think at the end of that video is when you spun the wheel, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah, I think that was like the Star Wars or something we were talking
Yeah, it was
about.
like a week ago.
Yeah, or maybe that was the Jesus topic.
I don't
that
know.
all there
No,
as
I
well?
remember it coming up and you saying it was guns. And I was like, guns? What's he going to talk about on that show? Good luck to him. And then a week later, I get a message.
You get to talk about them, yeah.
Yeah. So, my question then and now and still is, we're talking about guns and comics, or is this a completely non-comic related show other than all the comics behind us? Or, what are we doing here?
I envisioned it as as whatever topic comes up, that's what we talk about. And if comics can come in the picture, great. And if not, that's fine too. So
Okay.
my initial thought is like real world, but if you want to throw in comic book stuff too, I'm perfectly fine with that. Gun's a gun, whether it's drawn or real. But the reason I chose you two is I've seen not one but two different times on Instagram, Bub, you were shooting a comic in I believe, PGX case.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I wanted to take a PGX CBCS and a CGC and do like a YouTube video where I shoot them on the side and then on front on and see how bulletproof are they. Obviously, none of them are going to be, but some probably will hold up or shatter less than others. And then Rob, you showed off a brand new purchase that you got.
Yep.
From Andersonville, and that is the main reason why I thought of you. I thought of a couple other people too, but I figured go for you guys.
All right. Well, I'm glad I was available.
Right. Definitely glad to be here.
So I never know how to start these conversations off with, but as far as what I have, I actually want to get some because I don't really have very much. I mean, of course, my dad, uncle, grandpa, I'm going to inherit a crap ton of stuff that's like old and all sorts of things. But as far as what I have, all I have is I got a 20 gauge Sportsman 58 that was given to me by my grandfather. He bought it brand new in 1958. And they gave it to me. I learned how to shoot. And then no one told me, you got to actually clean these things. So it is no longer functionable because it will jam up real easy, and the barrel on the inside is pitted to death. So it's just going to be one of those mantle guns. And then the only other thing I have is this little Topper Junior Model 490 single shot 410 break. And while a 410 is great for home defense and plinking around, it'd be nice to shoot more than once without having to break it open, take it out, put another one in.
Yeah,
do that. So I'm wanting to upgrade and give me a new shotgun, and I'd like a rifle, and I would also like a handgun of some kind. I was thinking revolver, but I think I'm just going to go with the most popular thing out there, just so I can actually have ammunition for it, and that would be a 9mm. And of course, I have to get it in a model 1911.
Yeah. Well, there's no ammunition right now. Have you been able to find any, Rob?
Only at basically $2 a shell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very expensive right now.
Yeah, we have some around here, but yeah, I watched a video put out a month ago. It was put out a month ago. I watched it like yesterday, of the CEO of Remington and Federal talking like, please stop writing hateful messages. We're doing the best we can. We're making more ammunition now than we ever had before. But people are just buying it so much that you can't hardly find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're stocking
I watched that too. Yeah, because people have been claiming that they're shorting the market, trying to say that there's a ammo shortage out there, but really there isn't. There's just people just buying them off the truck as soon as they come. And whenever fair market value, in heavy quotes, but whenever the market value raises above the retail price, there's an awful lot of shenanigans that go on at these retail stores before the product ever gets on the shelf.
Yeah.
So they know that there's more money selling it out the back door than the front door, and all of a sudden there's only one box comes off the truck, and you're like, how'd that happen?
I can't tell you how many times I've talked with the folks down at Walmart like 10 years ago, and they were like, well, we have guys that figured out when the truck comes, and then they stand here and buy all the 22 right as soon as it gets delivered. I'm like, well, no wonder I can't ever find any.
Well, I think personally, I think it's all temporary. There's two main driving factors behind it, and that's the pandemic, which gives credence to some of your, we'll just say, gun enthusiasts who are more preppers. We'll call them preppers.
Yeah.
How about that?
There's 7 million new shooters last year.
Yeah, for the same reason, and I think the other thing that happens a lot is, it's political. So anytime a Democratic president steps in, ammo sales go up, gun sales go up, and availability goes down, and price goes up, of course, too. Because the media that a lot of gun enthusiasts watch, and certainly more center right or right leaning, politically viewed people, they certainly, a lot of them buy into the paranoia, if you will, that someone's coming to take their guns, right? So, hey, I'm not making a determination on one end or the other, but I am saying that those two things tend to drive, but it's always short-lived, because these people stock up on ammo, and then they realize they're not going to need it, and then they try and sell it, and then it floods back into the market. So I'd say in less than a year, we'll be back to normal, but it's always bad the January after a Democrat gets in office. There's never any ammo at that during that time. So,
I'm kind of surprised that it's of what caliber it is right now. The 9mm just blows my mind that that's very hard to get. The 5.56 or the 223. I think that's always going to be an up and down. You're going to have trouble getting it, but then you're going to get it. But
I think there's always federal attention on 5.56 anyway. So anytime you get into those larger rounds and those more AR platform type rounds, anytime you get into that stuff, you're going to always have constant attention and pressure and heat from special interest groups.
Yeah.
But what Will had said is important, and that's that the number of first-time shooters has really risen in the last year, mostly because of the pandemic, I believe. And that being the case, your small arms are what's selling. People getting their first handgun, simple handguns, also most rifles that are available at Walmart and other places. People don't know. I'm not usually here for a gun, but I see one. Maybe I should buy one. That kind of impulse buy. Those are generally small arms as well. You're talking about, your 22s and your 9mm. So,
and Bub, since you brought up the AR-15, just for people who may not know, the AR-15 shoots a 223 or 5.56 round, and it's a fine round. It's a fine gun. A lot of people know it's very popular, but it's not all that big and powerful compared to, for example, this is a 308 round. And Rob, is that one of those rounds?
5.56.
Yeah. Well, take it out and just give the people show them the size of that compared to.
Hey, you're talking to Rob Boswell here. Let's use some pronouns in all this. Tell them to take it out and show the people.
Yeah, let's.
This is an ink pen.
Wait, which one's the ink pen?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Technically, it's 0.223 diameter. That's how the diameter, the width of the bullet is. So, or 5.56 millimeters. So, it is. It's similar, honestly, to a 22 as far as caliber size.
And I'm going to switch us back. Yeah, this 308 round is used in hunting and such. It's popular. The 30-06 is a little bit bigger, but mainly here. But yeah, this is what would you say? Almost double the size of the AR round. Would you say?
Yeah, probably. Well, you got the rounded tip too.
I just bring that up to say it's not big and scary. It's big and people like it. It's very useful, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
It has a lot of muzzle velocity, and the foot-pounds of energy that can impact for hunting are much greater than these 5.56. So it is a more useful round in that case.
Yeah.
Well, Gavin's saying something here. He's talking about 22s that they gamble with rounds. That's funny. I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think anyone's knocking the deadliness or effectiveness of a 22. If anything, I have some law enforcement in the family, and there's plenty of statistics to back it up. But I'm pretty sure it's still true. I know it is in Kentucky, but I'm pretty sure it's still true nationally that 22 is the deadliest round in the country.
It actually has
I think
a velocity that will go through a ballistic vest, Kevlar. So it is high speed enough that it'll weave its way in between the Kevlar weave. So it is very dangerous.
And it bounces and rattles, and it gets very and if you dealing with hollow points or fragmented ends, there's lots of nasty stuff that happen. And in with that, you have to couple that it's the most inexpensive round generally. So that means it's readily available. It's also what a lot of people learn to shoot with. So kids are shooting those. So they also account for a lot of the accidental deaths as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will tell you, they're like, oh, well, hey, 22 ain't, I've heard, if you shoot a guy if you shoot a guy with a 22, all you're going to do is make him mad. And I'm like, are you signing up to get shot with a 22 right now? No. Yeah. Most of these people, if you pull a pellet gun out on them, they'd run. So,
every time my cousin goes to the range and he hears someone say that, he just walks up to him like, I have a 22. Can I shoot you with it? No one's ever volunteered.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But it's I wasn't saying it's not going to hurt you. I'm just saying it's not the big monster everyone thinks it is.
I'll show you probably the smallest round that'll get shown tonight. If you got a smaller one, show me. Let me know. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. 22 short.
That's a 22 short.
Wow. Yeah, most people when they think of 22, they think of the 22 long rifle.
Yeah, which is, I'll show you that real quick.
Yeah.
So that's a 22 LR, and that's or a long rifle, and that's a 22 short. So you can kind of see the difference there. They fit the same, obviously, because they're both 22.
Yeah.
So, but I like shooting these out of handguns or out of revolvers because they're subsonic. So you don't have to get earplugs.
I hate shooting the revolver with the long rifle 22s. That thing is so loud compared to an auto loader with the 22 because, all those gases are right there. And I have always grown up shooting 20 gauge, 410, and 22 long rifle without earplugs because they're not that loud. I mean, obviously, if you do 100 rounds a day every day. But when we get the revolver out, I even with those, I got to put the earplugs in, man.
So you're going to show the smallest round. Can I show the largest round?
Yes, please.
Well, now when you say largest compared to what? Because we
the
could
largest
go into
one of the night. We're just talking about the biggest one that will be seen tonight, likely.
Okay.
That is a 50 cal center fire cartridge. Now I actually have a 105 millimeter that I'm probably not going to show on screen. That is a howitzer shell. It's about 3 foot long and about 105 millimeters in diameter. It's huge.
Yeah.
But as far as
I have a few that my grandpa gave me from World War II from the wings of their planes that they would fire out. But it was a spent round and they filled it with concrete and molded it so you had a replica to show.
Yeah, this is a live round. So
the round I showed was live as well. Yours, Bub, they were all live?
Yeah, mine are all live.
And
nice.
Can one of you guys explain what a live round, what does that mean? Does that mean if you breathe real hard, will it go off?
It depends what you ate for lunch, but I would think generally not. What I always tell people is read the label. So anytime you buy ammunition, on the outside of the container, whatever it may be, it says very clearly the most likely causes of danger or ignition. And read that label because not all bullets are created equally. I could take this 22. It's a rimfire. And so he was talking about his being a center fire, which means show the bottom of yours, Rob, so they can see the pin. So that's a center fire. So that means that in whatever, rifle or whatever he's shooting it out of, it's going to eject a hammer, if you will, that goes straight in to that spot, and that sets off the cabin.
Yeah. And then for the rim fire.
For the rim fire, it basically is to see how this is flat. So, and then it will just hit the edge or that rim, if you will.
Yeah.
And any trauma to that rim will ignite it. So like you can take a straw, like just a drinking straw, stick a 22 in the end of a straw and throw the straw. And if you throw the straw, then because of the weight of the bullet, it will land that way and it will ignite and it'll go off.
Yeah.
So there's different safeties to different rounds, although those are the two most general ones. So I always say people like, well, are bullets safe? I'm like, read the container. It will tell you right on there what's safe or how dangerous it is. So, yeah.
And most ammunition nowadays is center fire. So most of the time it'll look like that on the bottom. Even this is a 410 shell of a shotgun, which technically it's not a gauge. It's a caliber because it's so small. But, yeah, it's even – there's the camera. It's a center fire as well. But, yeah, man, do you guys know the guy on YouTube named Paul Harrell?
Oh yeah, he's
awesome. That's what he is.
I think he's one of the best presenters that I've ever heard give a presentation on anything. Yeah, and I've been forced to listen to a great many presentations in my time, and I can tell you that of any subject I've ever listened to or watched, he's got the best presentation skills on any subject. Fantastic.
Well, I was going to say he has said many a time that one of the also downsides of a 22 that's a rimfire is they make so many of them at once, and they're so small. Sometimes you can have it, and the explosive that's put in there in the rim is sloshed around that entire thing. So you hit it anywhere, and it'll ignite. And sometimes they'll have a defect where it's more to one side, so you can hit it, and it doesn't fire, and you got to.
Well, it's your cheapest round generally.
Yeah.
So like anything that's at the lowest end of the budget, it's an entry round, if you will. It's an entry point to new owners and to new gun enthusiasts and target shooters and things like that. Not just hunting. But in any case, what happens is that there's varying degrees of quality with anything.
Oh, yeah.
And some people, in order to make money on that round when selling it, they're going to have to produce it at a very rapid pace at a very low quality standard. My opinion is, and I buy a lot of 22 rounds, mostly all 22 rounds. And for me, I have certain brands that I like because of the quality control issues, but also there's a pairing that occurs between your firearm and the round. And it's not just the size of the round, but often it's the brand of the round as far as how well it cycles. They'll all have, especially on a semi-automatic. So if you're using like a blowback cycle, then it has to have enough punch to kick it back and cycle the next round. What happens is that you get a cheap bullet and we won't say a cheap firearm, but we'll say a particular firearm, like a firearm that only likes certain ammunition. And that happens quite a bit. So, I mean, you try and stick. I like guns that will almost fire anything. It's just a firearm that almost fires. Doesn't matter what you put in it, it eats it. That's great. But that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, you're trying to pair a specific manufacturer even of a round with that firearm. And do your research. That people have already done this. They'll tell you what the best rounds fire out of which ones. I like CCI for my stuff, and the mini mags. The 22 mini mags seem to fire through everything. And but they're the most expensive 22 round also.
And I think we can all agree the worst 22 round is a Remington bucket of bullets.
Yeah. I mean, you can just hold them in your hand and you're covered in dust. You've got what the hell is that? It's lead dust is what it is, but it's all over
so why did I buy 17,000 rounds of them?
Because they were cheap and they were at Walmart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you were afraid someone's going to come take your guns.
Yeah, right.
Next question.
Yeah.
And unless you want to finish that, you were about to say something.
I was just going to say that one, I like those. They almost never miss, but I'm okay with the occasional miss if the price is right. And this bring your own bottle, BYOB from Federal on the 22 copper-plated hollow point champions. They're 36 grain, which I like. I like a heavier grain if I can get it. And that's these, and they're just literally a bucket of bullets, or a can of bullets, if you will. And they pretty much fire through almost anything. And I'll show you a magazine that I have here in a minute that I have it paired with, and the reason that I do that. So that's all.
Well, I was just going to say, get on a out of ammunition topic.
Mm-hmm.
Shotgun, rifle, handgun. Which would be better for worst case scenario? Someone is attacking the home defense. Which is better, brand new shooter and experienced shooter? What's your opinion?
You want to take it, Rob? I mean, I have an opinion, but it's probably not.
I knew this one would cause a fight. So
yeah. My opinion for a new shooter who is not well versed and capable, or doesn't even shoot a lot, even if you do have had a gun for a while, but you just don't shoot a lot. To me, the number one self defense home gun is a shotgun. Number one, you're going to have a broad range of where you can strike the target, so you're more likely to hit that target, because shotgun, for people who don't know, the further you get out, the wider that pattern goes. So it shoots a lot of little BBs. Now there's some slugs and buck loads and stuff, but for a normal 6.5, 7 load, it's just a bunch of little lead pellets. And when you use them, that pattern goes out, so you're more apt to hit your target by not having to aim. You basically just point and shoot. So that's my opinion. Honestly, I have a little bit of both though. So for my own, so
single shot, auto loader, pump.
I prefer pump. Just auto loaders. Number one, you're getting into expense. So if you have the money and that's not a concern, go for the auto loader. There's no reason not to. But pump is better than a single shot because you have, a cycle of the pump and you've got another round ready. Because maybe there's more than one intruder in your house. And maybe you've knocked him down and you need to be ready if he gets back up. Just being honest here. So, yeah. But I have a small pistol grip, short barreled 12 gauge pump that I use for home defense. I have a hunting shotgun that has a longer barrel on it and allows me to shoot further. So a shorter barrel means it's going to get wider quicker. So a shorter barrel, you're better off for that home defense thing.
All right. So before you go into experienced shooter, Bub, your take on best for a brand new inexperienced shooter?
Well, I almost wouldn't label it down as experienced and inexperienced personally. So if you want him to give his other half, he can, and then I can go, or I can go now.
Whatever you want to do, Rob. You want to go ahead with your experienced shooter?
And I kind of think what he's hinting to with the experienced shooter. And when I say experienced shooter, I mean someone who actually has gone to not just a range, but a close quarter combat situation and has been trained. There's lots of classes out there to show you this. You can get a practice schedule down, and you need to practice. It's just like cleaning the gun. You've got to keep it clean for it to function. It's a tool. So in saying that, I have a Beretta 9mm 92 FS, which is the civilian version of the M9. And that's what I use. I have a tack light. I've got a laser on it, and I can lay down about 19 rounds downrange. So I actually even go in detail, and my first 6 shots are what's called HydroShocks. I don't know if either of you have heard of these or not, but they are high fragmenting rounds. And they have Black Talon. I think those have been banned, but
are those the ones that have the kind of like Phillips head? Like if you look at them, it looks like little claws.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, that the Black Talons they have almost like little fish hooks that are inside there, and they've been banned to general public. Police can still, law enforcement can still get those, but the HydroShocks are basically split, and they'll fragment very highly. But I have like the first 6 loads of HydroShock, and after that, full metal jacket. So there's reasons for that. Probably not going to get into, but there are reasons. But to me, with that flashlight, I've got strobe effect and in solid light. There are reasons for that. The lasers for point and shoot. But I've still got that 12 gauge pistol, short barreled shotgun, as well as the pistol. So I kind of mix it up a little bit.
Bob?
First, I would preface with raise your hand if you've been in an in-home invasion. Anybody up here?
Yeah.
Not me. Have you guys been in an in-home invasion? Okay.
Yep.
So that's the first thing to take all advice on this kind of stuff from people who have never been in that situation.
Yeah.
First of all.
Well, I would like to say we are not giving any kind of advice on my channel at all concerning this topic. We're just three dudes talking, and you know, if you happen to hear us and do anything, that's your fault. We didn't suggest anything.
Right, exactly. But you know, if you're asking me my opinion, I still want it to be known that this is an opinion on a subject of a situation that I have not currently been in and ever been in. So I think that that's important to note. Also, by the same token, being comfortable with a firearm means a lot. So if you have a favorite firearm that you are very comfortable with and can shoot reliably without shooter error, if you will, right? Personal malfunction, then that's probably going to be your best bet. Then something that you never touch. Like when I hear people say that they have a home defense gun that they only use for home defense and they have it sitting under their bedside and they never touch it. It's like got dust and cat hair and who knows what, you know, mouse turds in the ejector. It's who knows, because they never touch it because it's only for home defense. Then I say you're probably going to be, you know, in a situation, if you know, heaven forbid, are in that situation with a firearm that you're unfamiliar with and probably less accurate for all those same reasons, you're going to have a harder time defending yourself.
It's probably going to fail as well.
As well, yes, because if you're not keeping it, you know, oil, lubed, and functioning, making, you know, finding out what its error rate is. You know, if you take 100 rounds, if you you know, expel 100 rounds and you find out of that 100 it only malfunctioned twice, that's great. That may be a very reliable firearm. But if you have never fired 100 rounds out of this thing because it's only your home defense firearm, and then what happens? You find out that it has an error rate of 1 out of 5. Good luck, you know. You've never paired the ammo with it. You've never got comfortable with it. You can't do it in the dark. You can't operate this thing in the dark under stressful situations with potentially people screaming or who knows what other kind of sounds in the background. You know, I mean, that's going to be a real test of your nerves as well as your ability. And if you don't have both of those down with a little bit of practice, you're probably not going to be very effective in your defense. The other thing that I'll say before I make my recommendation is that environment means everything. You know, for me personally, across the doorway from my room is my son's room. For that reason, over penetration is the number one concern for me. It's his literally across where if I fire a gun out my bedroom window from my bedroom door, right? If I'm laying down in bed and I fire through that door, I'm literally aimed directly at my son's bed in the other room. And a couple of pieces of drywall wouldn't stop a nail gun, much less a serious firearm. So you always have to be mindful over penetration and how far away your potential target is likely to be. You know, when you're in bed, you probably don't need laser sights and strobe lights. But you know what? A nice rack of a pump shotgun can be a nice deterrent as well. You don't get that with an automatic. So, you know, there's always that in the back of your mind. Then you have to think, okay, what happens after the shot? What happens if I actually kill someone? You know, you can get into all the, you know, moralities of whether it was deserved or not, or whether you had good cause. But ultimately, it won't be your morality that gets questioned. You're going to end up in a court of law, and you're going to have to defend yourself as to why you discharge a firearm in your home against someone else. Doesn't matter the reason that they were there. That may come into play at some point, but you're still going to have to not only defend why you fired, particularly if you fired first, whether you were sure that they had not just no right to be there, but also ill intent and murderous intent, and therefore it was self-defense. You're also going to have to defend your ammo choice and your firearm choice. And let me tell you, if you've got some discotheque firearm by the side of your bed that looks like you just can't wait for somebody to walk in so you could shoot them, you're probably going to lose that case and go to jail for murder. That's just how it goes. Yeah. They want to see an old man gun when you're in court. Yeah. They want to see a last resort, you know, wood-grained pump shotgun that was handed down from your grandfather. You never want to give them an excuse to go through your gun safe and see all the toys you have for target practice and hunting.
And every state's different too.
Every state is different, and you have different laws for victims. For instance, in Kentucky, as Rob probably knows, they just passed that Macy's law here in Kentucky that expanded victims' rights. So now we have similar victim rights here. And of course, in this case, the victim is the guy who broke in and you shot, by the way. That's the victim. So by the terminology of this law.
We don't have any of that stuff down here.
Well, they have it in California, and they've sprung it up on us. It has failed. It's always been on the ballot, and it has failed, and it finally got passed through this year. So what makes that difficult is that if someone dies, then their family can sue you, even if they broke in your house and tried to do something, and whatever, their family can sue you for damages if you kill them, or if you just harm them. If you just shoot them in the arm and they go to, you got to pay their doctor's bill for a guy that came to steal your stereo, right? Or worse. So anyway, all that aside, my point is that there's so many factors to consider in your purchase before you even talk about what's got stopping power or what's gonna kill them dead the first shot. Is that there's lots of other things to consider. That being said, for me, I think that the best way to look at it is what's past the target. What's past the target? Are you gonna hurt your neighbors? Because if someone's coming to steal your TV, and this gets political, I know, but if someone's coming to steal your TV and that's it, and you catch them and you shoot them in your living room because they didn't think you were home, and you came home sick one day and took a nap, they've been casing your house for weeks, they know you're never home at this particular time, so then they show up at that particular time, but you happen to be home. They didn't think they were going to encounter any resistance at all, but you wake up from your nap and you hear somebody in the living room pulling the TV off the wall, so you grab your shotgun or whatever you've got, and you approach them in the living room, you shoot them through the window. Well, there could be a school bus outside. There could be your neighbors, because some of these high-powered, that round Rob just showed would go through 2 houses before it stopped. If it stopped, probably hit the ground before it stopped. So, there's some serious penetration issues that you have to be concerned with.
Yeah, that 50 is not for people. That is for vehicles. That's what it's designed for.
It's been outlawed by the Geneva Convention. So, yeah, against people. So, yeah.
Yeah. But
I just think
what is the it's the 4 or the 5 rules of guns. One of them is never put your finger on the trigger unless you're shooting, and then it goes through another rules, and one of them is always know what your target is and what's behind your target.
Yeah. There's some basic. I would much rather someone lose their TV than be responsible for shooting their neighbor or their loved one in their own home, or potentially themselves. We tend to hear jokes and stuff about people who have firearm accidents and lose a toe, but some people lose more than that. Things do happen. So so my recommendation, to cut it short and give everybody else more time to yak, my recommendation is it should be a gun that you're very familiar with, and it should be a gun that fits your environment and the most likely thing to occur. Yes, you may like a nice AR platform if there's ever a civil uprising, but chances are that's not going to happen in the very near future in your home. So, your home defense should be well researched, should be a gun that you're comfortable with, and it should be something that considers the environment around you and your likely situation. And for that, I like a pump.
Yeah.
For that. With a small grain.
If this wasn't a single shot, I would say it's a good choice.
Yeah, but what happens, and we talked about that single shot versus multiple. But hey, you may rack that slide and never have to fire. That could happen. I don't. It's got to help.
That brings up a question, because I believe it was Kachun that had mentioned that before. Sometimes just the sound might make someone run away. Yeah, that's possible, but that also means you did not have a round in the chamber. So is that really a good idea?
Well, I mean, you can, if you wanted to go through actual evidence of cases, then you would find, I'm sure, plenty for all three scenarios. And three scenarios would be someone comes in and you literally only have time enough to pull the trigger. That's very unlikely. Chances are you will have plenty of time to both reach. I mean, that's assuming in that case, you could say, well, if your gun's under your bed or in your nightstand, you've already lost because you didn't have time to reach for it. You know, you should be sleeping with it between your legs at all time or under your pillow with your head just sleeping like this all the time, ready to fire. You know, so there's always going to be a diminished return as far as accessibility and time with which to act, which would, again, become very pertinent. You hear a lot of times, I have a gun safe. Well, how long is it going to take you to get into that thing? You know, when the shit hits the fan, are you able to get in there, get it, load it? Because if you have a gun safe, usually you're not keeping it loaded. Get it, load it. You know, what if it's in another room? You know, I mean, there's so many other. So my point is that spectrum can go much further than the time it takes to pump a shotgun. It could also be I have to leave my room to go get it, which is much worse, obviously. I think that when you're looking at what someone can do in the amount of time that they have, that's going to be a very personal thing. Research it, practice, be faster at pumping if you need to. And then there's the other argument. The third argument is, well, what if that deterrent that you think is a deterrent is really a warning signal to someone else for them to put a round in the chamber if there wasn't one already? Now they know you have a gun and now they're ready to use their gun. I mean, that could be a case too. So the odds are, though, fairly low that an armed assailant with guns loaded and in hand is coming into your home to steal your TV. That's fairly low. Yeah. And if you think that there's a high probability that that's going to happen, that armed or multiple armed assailants are coming in your home, then you've probably made some life choices and you've got some pretty big enemies out there. You might want to rethink all that. Or you've made some poor life choices and you're living in a neighborhood where this just happens. So all that needs to be considered, I think.
Yeah. As far as me, if you have a gun safe and your stuff's in the safe, obviously you don't want it loaded in a safe because, I mean, you're going to have to get to it. But if you have something out of a safe, you know, that's by your bed or something like that, to me, an unloaded gun makes a very poor club. So,
I mean, that's, you know, I mean, you're saying that. And I appreciate the sentiment, but like you said, that's for you. If you don't have small kids in the house, I can understand that.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. It's really a cornucopia of circumstances that are unique to you will determine the best course of action for you.
I mean, most small children know how to pull a trigger. They can figure that out. And the pounds per square inch on some of these triggers are not very strong. I mean, a lot of them are fairly weak enough for if a kid can get his own juice cap off, he could probably pull his trigger. So you have to be real careful with that kind of stuff. If you live alone and the circumstances are right, sure, go ahead, keep a loaded one right by the bedside. But, you know, if you don't and you have other people to worry about, if you have a loaded gun and small children in the home, again, I've not done enough research to say, you know, in a concrete manner, but I'd put a healthy wager that there are more in-home accidental shootings that occur with loaded guns than actual cause to use them on assailants.
That is where these newer safes that come out would be kind of cool to have. You could have your gun in there loaded, and then only your fingerprints, you know, quick, then you're right there.
Yeah, that's good too. But, you know, the more technology you invite, it gets, and you know,
more stuff can go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll start getting controversial again. But I mean, so I was teasing my wife the other day. So we're watching this commercial, right? And they had this car out. I don't know who makes it, Honda or somebody, right? So there's this car out. It's not a particularly luxurious car either. And the girl standing behind, like, she's at Walmart or something, and there's not enough room to park the car and open the door because she would hit another car. So she gets out of the car and she pulls out her key fob and she starts working the key thing to get the car to park itself into the spot. And it can park itself in and it can park itself out all by her control. And I said, I was teasing, of course. It's not real, especially not in her case. But I was just saying, the only thing I trust less is of a woman behind the wheel is a woman holding a remote control. It's like, so, and my point in that is not to be, extra sexist, but just the point that if you already have a deadly device like a car or something that can be accidental, then do you really want to introduce more technological screw-ups? Even me, sometimes I was walking. We had got to a restaurant a couple weeks ago. We pulled into a restaurant, and I'm one of those guys who's like scoping out the parking lot to see who else is going to go to this restaurant and try and beat us to the line. So I'm like, you know what? They're only seating half of us. We better hurry. So I pull in real quick. I see another car pull in. I'm like, they're going to that restaurant. Come on, they're the same size party as us. We got to get in that restaurant before they do. So I hurry up. We got to, locked up, beep, beep, and we're like fast walking, but casually, like, hey, nobody sees us rushing to the restaurant. And then we say, sir. I'm like, oh, crap. They caught us. I turn around, and the lady's like, your trunk's open. Because I was hitting the damn button, and I was trying to lock it real quick, and I popped the trunk. So I had to go back and, whatever. So my point is, if you got one of those safes that have all these, I've seen keypad ones, I've seen thumbprint scanners, how long is it until that crap fails? Just seems like another thing to mess up.
Yeah. But that reminds me, one thing I hate is these backup cameras and the dinging things if you get too close on the road. Okay, that means you're a bad driver. Okay, that's all that means. And it bugs me how many people will you back up and just stare at that backup camera as they're backing up, not even paying attention to what's outside the camera, and almost wreck. I cannot stand that. But anyway, that's not even on this topic. That just really burns me up.
I hear you.
So, Rob.
Yes, sir.
It's been a two-man show for a little bit. Yeah. Have the floor. Anything we're missing that you want to come in on?
Well, the one thing it kind of hits back to, there are some rules or laws that you've heard as far as don't put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to pull the trigger. Kind of fit along this line that I've adhered to. I've taught my boys this. Everyone that I come in contact with, I make sure they understand this, and that is don't point a gun at anything you don't intend to shoot, and don't shoot at anything that you don't intend to destroy or kill. So, just a couple little tips that you need to be very cautious of where that gun is pointed and what you're doing. So you just, I can't stress it enough. And then another little thing was, if somebody's coming into your house to steal your TV, that's not justification necessarily for shooting them. At some point, we do have the castle law here in Kentucky. If they're in your house, pretty much you can shoot them. But you have to justify fear for your own life to shoot someone. So just stealing something is not a real good justification. You're really going to have to battle that. So you need to feel fear of your life or someone else's life to be able to do that. But you can act like a policeman. You can be a citizen, make a citizen's arrest. You can go after them just like a cop would. I don't know how many people have handcuffs, Bub, but
this guys,
right?
They got felt on the inside though. They don't hurt too bad.
But you just some of this stuff, like if you have a concealed carry license, at least here in Kentucky, they have you have to pass an 8-hour course, which has like 4-hour video, and you learn a lot of stuff. I wish they would give that video to school children, let them see go ahead.
You heard they did away with that, right?
You can still get it because of
No, you can still get it, but you don't need it now.
No, you
don't. So
now,
now people in Kentucky, you can have a concealed weapon without a license now.
Yep.
I'm 50-50 on that.
Yep.
I mean, I like freedoms. I like more freedoms. but I do wish that there was a bigger push for that. Like, I don't know. I think it's a little too easy, but what can you say?
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to add is we're talking about guns, and they're fun. They can also be a weapon, but one thing that burns me up is people, especially the gun guys on YouTube, especially
gun tubers.
Yeah, gun tuber is like this. Holding the gun is like, this is not a weapon. This is a tool. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. A gun is a weapon. Okay, if you have one, you have a huge responsibility to yourself and to everyone around you to treat it with respect. Realize you have the power to take away life in your hands, and you need to treat it that way. Don't point it at something, all just willy-nilly. Make sure you don't touch that trigger unless you want to pull the trigger and all that other stuff. A knife is a tool till it becomes like a machete, and then that's made for, other reasons. Or a sword, obviously that's a weapon, but a gun is not a tool. It is a weapon. Now, you can have fun with weapons, like plinking around with a 22 and whatnot, but don't ever lose sight of it is a weapon. It is a very, very powerful thing, and you have a lot of responsibility given to you when you hold one in your hands. Don't take it lightly.
That's fair. That being said, let's look at some fun guns.
I was about to say, now, one of y'all asked me, hey, can we have show and tell? So I assume y'all have something. Ooh, what is? Oh, let me find. There it is. There's the solo.
There's
Walther P38, right?
Walther PPK.
PPK.
Mm-hmm. And that was classically, of course, he used a Beretta too, and a couple other guns. Anything that the bad guys dropped when he was out of ammo. So that was my Grail gun, and gosh, it's almost been 2 years now. My wife got me one for my birthday, I think.
Now, I can't remember. What round does the Walther shoot?
It shoots
traditionally, and what does yours shoot?
Traditionally, it shoots a 38, I think, or it might be a 9. I think it's a 38 though, and mine is a 22. So let me just okay. So you can see that it has no clip or no magazine. I'm sorry, and the chamber is empty. So
that doesn't matter.
Well, it does. People care. Yeah, it's just etiquette. You're also not supposed to point the barrel at yourself or at the camera, which is very difficult to do because you have to kind of do a ballet with it all the time.
I understand not pointing the muzzle at the camera,
and you'll notice that it has a threaded barrel, so that is for a suppressor, or commonly referred to as a silencer. So now this.
And just so people know, that means he's going from like 125, 140 decibels down by like 25 to 30. So it doesn't make it that silent, but it does reduce it by a lot.
It does. It's never what they call movie quiet. Like, that's not a real thing. Like when you're listening to movies and you're like that, like that's not a thing. I've never heard that. What you hear is still a gunshot, and it's unmistakably a gunshot. It's just not ear piercing. It drops at subsonic, so it doesn't rupture your eardrums, and it does slow the bullet down quite a bit.
Basically, it still goes bang. It just doesn't go bang.
Now, this is a faux suppressor because in Kentucky you have to have a tax stamp to own a suppressor. It's like an 18-month process to even try and get one, and they deny more than they accept. And honestly, I have no real need for a suppressor because I shoot out of my backyard, and I don't care who hears me because I have nothing but wooded land behind me, so it's not an issue for me. So I make all the noise I want to make. So I don't really need a suppressor. This is a faux suppressor. Of course, everything else is correct, but the suppressor is a faux suppressor just for the looks because it does look nice. on the gun. So
Now, is that threaded on the inside?
well, this particular model comes threaded in the barrel. So the barrel is actually threaded, and then it has kind of a nut that goes over it when you're not using that.
No, I'm talking about the faux suppressor. So, since it's not an actual suppressor.
Yeah,
is it
no, it's
threaded?
it's just missing the baffles.
Okay.
So if one was enterprising
So
enough,
does
sure they
that give you any more noticeable accuracy then because of the threads?
no, but it will suppress some flash. So without are you talking about like the barrel of it?
Yeah, I'm asking, is the barrel of it threaded to give you a longer barrel? Like instead of that,
No, no, a
two-
barrel. No, so now this I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, a suppressor does not have a threaded barrel. When I say threaded,
I'm asking for that one in particular does it?
no,
Okay.
no, it's just a smooth bore all the way through, and it's slightly wider than the bullet would be anyway, so it doesn't actually touch the bullet. The bullet doesn't touch this.
Okay.
It fires straight through, and it never touches it.
Well, I was just asking because since you said it was a faux suppressor, I didn't know if it made it instead of a 2-inch barrel, you now have like a 5-inch barrel.
No, what makes it low is that it doesn't take away any of the sounds because it's missing the baffle.
Okay.
So there's
it is a suppressor, just no baffles.
Right. In a real suppressor, well, no, because it's not. In order to be a suppressor, it has to suppress the sound, or the speed, and so there's baffles and there's chambers inside of a suppressor that there's some different designs, but basically they're made to deaccelerate the bullet and also capture some of that sound where it doesn't break the sound barrier and give that nice little pop that you would hear in a gunshot. So, and it has this long to do that, and generally it can. But this one is empty, so it makes the full sound. The only thing it does is it does suppress some of the flash that comes out of it, so it's not as bright. So if I were to shoot it at night, it would not be as bright.
Well, I saw Rob go out of the room and come back in with like a case. So let's see what he brought out for us.
All right. You mentioned that you might actually like a little 1911 action. So
nice.
This is my Colt Series 90 Defender. This is in 45 ACP.
That's not full size, though, is it?
It is a 3.5-inch barrel, so it is not a 5-inch barrel, correct? But it is for conceal for carry. It has a Wilson Combat Competition match grade trigger that's like 1 3/4 pound pull. It's been dehorned. It has Simonovich grips. These are custom grips. So it's very tight in your hand.
I've had a lot of surgeries and whatnot, so I'm probably never going to be able to wear a gun at my waist. So I don't have to worry about needing a concealed carry. So I would want the full 5-inch barrel.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's just personal preference. But this actually served a purpose for concealed carry at one point in time. I have actually 2 other guns that I carry right now. So this one just gets put away and shot every now and then. That's my baby. I have a Ruger single action 22. This actually comes with two. My mind just went blank. It has 2 cylinders. One's for 22 rifle and the other 22 mag.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's interchangeable.
Right. So explain real quick for people who may not know that's watching. That is a single action. It has no double action.
Yeah, I can't pull the trigger and get the hammer to come back. Okay. Double action means I pull this trigger, the hammer comes back and fires. Single action means I have to cock it before I can pull the trigger and release the hammer. So each action, single action. It's not double. I can't pull the trigger. So, and actually what you have here, half cocked, there's an old saying, don't go off half cocked. And I can't get it. At half cocked, you should be able to open the cylinder up and check, make sure there's no shells in the cylinder, which is very hard to do on camera.
That's all right.
But yeah, I have checked that. There are none in there. but that's a nice, fun little gun to shoot. It was new to my collection last year.
Rough Rider makes a nice one of those, fairly inexpensive.
Well, it's funny you say that because I have one of those.
Yeah, there you go.
And it is the same deal. It is single action only. Let me make sure that's.
Did you get the one that had the interchangeable barrel as well for the Magnum?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does have that also. So there's a half cock. Yeah, you can see that. But it allows the cylinder to rotate freely. And then you can check, make sure it's not loaded. But this is
And
the
those
same.
those are pretty inexpensive, aren't they? They're like $170 or $200.
I think I gave 160 for this. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and what's interesting, Colt has, or I'm sorry, Ruger has decided that's what this is a Ruger.
Yeah.
And they tried to compete with them. So this is $200 out the door, taxes and everything.
Wow.
A Ruger.
Dang.
So, yeah, this is, again, single action only. I can't pull the trigger. It's not double action. I have to cock it. But I don't know if you saw me get my big toy out.
You mean Tool?
Yeah, Tool. Yeah, I'm about to knock comics off the wall.
Yeah. Now that's an AR platform, right?
Correct. Yes.
Is it an AR-15, AR-10? What is it?
This is an AR-15. It's in 223 or 5.56 caliber.
So it's the standard one that everyone thinks about.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
This is
So, all right, what all have you done to it?
Oh goodness.
I see like at least 3 or 4 things.
Yeah, I've got pop-up iron sights. These are mag pulls, front and rear. I've got a
ACOG?
it is a Hollow Sun reticle with a red dot that is rechargeable, either batteries or solar. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, and then I've got a vertical foregrip, which is milled aluminum from Viking Tactics. That's for different types of holds. I really like them. I've got this whole Picatinny rail system up here. Was added by me. It's a 4-post, so there's Picatinny rail that I can add accessories. Northeast, south, and west. I've got a large pull charge handle that I've changed out, and I've actually got a new trigger on order. But that's it so far. I think I did put the Hogue grips on it, the finger grips. So
Yeah. Barb wants to know why you would have the top mounted sight in between your 2 rails, in between your 2 iron sights.
the red dot.
Yeah, why is it between the 2 iron sights? Because you can't use the iron sights and that at the same time.
I can. You can actually, I can actually shoot through. And quite honestly, what I've read and what I've most experienced with is you basically only use your front sight anyway. So you're going to point and shoot with that front sight. Honestly, it's backup. If I ever do have to use the iron sights, I'm going to pull this red dot off. So it's just a matter of convenience for me. I like the position of it, and my eye relief is good for the red dot. I don't intend to use them both at the same time, quite honestly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'll show one here in a minute where I do the same thing.
Yeah. But that's that, baby. And of course, your typical 30-round magazine.
Now that is not extra large capacity. That is the standard size that comes with. Yes.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I can actually now if I hunt, I can use this to hunt. I have to get a 5-round magazine, and I actually have one of those. So, but yes, 30-round is what this typically comes with.
Is that because of hunting regulations then?
Yes. Yeah, you're only allowed to have no more than 5 rounds in the gun when, like, say, whitetail deer hunting. So,
yeah.
And I think the Red Dot and Ironsights line up. Yes, they do actually. I've actually got a bore sighter that at to 100 yards, which I'm never going to shoot iron sights at 100 yards. So, but they all line up. So.
All right. Anything else on deck, Rob, or you?
Me not handily. I have to go dig.
All right. Anything else for you there, Bub?
Yeah, I'll show a couple real quick.
I mean, I can keep showing the same thing I've been showing, but I only got the one thing. That ain't that interesting.
Well, it's funny you say it that way because my hope is to have kind of an interesting collection. So I treat my firearm collection a lot like my comic collection. I'm trying to keep it small, tight, and varied. But that being said, I like to target shoot. So I have a targeting range set up out of my backyard, and I shoot off the deck and aim down. And I enjoy that a lot. So 22 plinking is what that's called when you're hitting iron or steel targets, and it goes bing, bing, bing. That's the plink sound. So one of my first ones for that, this is, I guess you'd call it antique. It's from 1938, and this is a H&R 22 special. So that's this right here.
Ooh. Break open.
And it's a top break 9-shot pistol with an auto.
Cool.
So look at that. When you top break it, it automatically ejects the shells and then is ready again. It was originally had gold. I can't see it. So it had a gold sight at the front and just a notch in the back to see through. So it's very inaccurate. We'll start with that. It's very inaccurate. And it's a terrible design because that gold sight at the front, which is actually, it's real gold at the front there. If you can see that kind of right there. So it's a real gold. And the problem is when you're outside during the daylight, the sunlight will hit that gold and make this glow, and you can't see anything past it because you're aiming your eyes right at it. And then it's so bright. It's so impractical. But in any case, it also had originally gold inlay in. So anywhere you see where it says like HR 22 special. Now I have done that. So I have replaced the gold inlay. That's still the original engravings, but the gold was all, run out of it. So I have replaced that. I've replaced this part here. And they are removable restorations. So if anyone wanted to restore this to its original condition, they can with just a bottle of paint thinner, And they're Worcester Arms, as Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, USA. And it was made by the see if I can read that. My eyes are the Harrington and Richardson Arms Company, which is what the HR in HR Special stands for. And it's got its original wood grips, and they are, of course, I've oiled them and cleaned them up. So it looks a lot better than it was when I got it. But yeah, I like a nice old gun. This is what I fire my shorts with because it's just, I can shoot it subsonic. It's a double action, so I can pull the trigger, and this will completely come back with the trigger pull. So
yeah, Harrington and Richardson's who made my my 490 right here, this 410.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's an old gun.
yeah I don't think they're in existence anymore, and they're very hard to track down. Like by the serial number, I can find out that this one was made between 1938 and 1939, but other than that, there's no telling. And then if Rob's showing big guns, I'll show a big one. So this one's a little bit bigger than that last one I showed.
Hey, H&R got bought out by Marlin back in 2000, so they were around up until about 2000.
That's not bad.
No, I actually have a couple of single barrel rifles by them. So.
Cool.
But they're new made.
Well, any self-respecting 22 lover should have a Ruger 1022, which is probably the most popular 22 rifle made. And of course, there's been some modifications made to this.
I can see that.
It has the red thread on it. It has a tank style flash suppressor. So that just makes the flash go this way instead of out the top. Because normally when you fire, say if it's dark out, the flash will come from all over, and it can ruin your sight line. You make it difficult to see if you're going to do rapid succession, and this is semi-automatic, so you kind of need that rapid succession ability, right, just to be able to see. So having a flash suppressor that's flat on the top stops that fire from coming out at the top, so you can still see. It has a red dot scope. I think times it's just 10 strengths, but it's got a red dot scope, and then also I fitted it with a laser pointer as well. So I'm real good. I can get it to do that. There you go. Everybody likes that. So a red dot scope. What else? So of course, like Barb was saying, I would not use this and this, but it's available. No iron sights. It has also been painted by me to have that. It's very difficult to see on camera, but that's red across there, just to look a little prettier. And say, "Oh, Bub, that's not a big gun. What are you talking about?" Well, that's why we have this sucker. And it's 110 rounds.
Oh wow!
Goes right in like that. I'm not going to load it now because it's actually quite difficult to load without. Oh wait, nope, it's empty. I thought this was full. Oh, so I can load it. All right, so we'll do that. I wasn't sure if I had it loaded or not, so I didn't think that I did. Make sure I've got it set to the right way. Come on. It is difficult to load that thing in there. Ah, what a pain. All right. Well, we're not going to load it here because it's too hard to do. Well, it would help if you turned it the right way. All right. There you go. So that kind of makes a little bit of a faux Tommy gun out of it. And it's super fun to shoot, man. Those rounds, they get so – you could fry an egg off this barrel after you're done firing these rounds, man. It gets so hot. Yes. So there's lots of Barb saying there's lots of high capacity mags for these. I've had some that were terrible. This one's fantastic. I've never had – now you'll hear people say, oh, mine shoots perfect. I've never had a malfunction. I've truly never had a malfunction out of this magazine. Now, I've had plenty that I can't say that with, and I may take this out this weekend and fire it and have a malfunction. So I'm not trying to say that there's no way it could happen. But so far, I've probably shot close to 1,000 rounds out of it, and I've not had any malfunction. So it's been very reliable, just fantastic. And I've let other people shoot it too, people who are less experienced shooters, family members and stuff, and they haven't had any problem either. So most of them do suck, the high capacity rounds. This one's fantastic.
All right. Well, with that there, let us fellas, this is actually the longest one I've done of these What's the Title things. So thank you for that. We have a few people in here real active in the chat, like Barbarian. Hadn't seen you around in a while, Barbarian. Nice to see you there. And I got to figure out what I'm doing for next month.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so let me add this to the stream. This is the wheel here. We got to spin it twice because I do 2 a month of these things. Right now, if you can't read it, we got Marvel movies, DC movies, artists, capitalism, God, Atomic Age, Bronze Age, sci-fi books, romance books, the golden age of comics. What are some other things I can add here as topics for this show? It literally does not matter, just any topic within reason.
I mean, I've been happy to be on any one of those.
Yeah.
Atomic Age, Golden Age.
You two,
books.
both of you give me at least one thing to put on the wheel, and chat, those of you that are still here, throw some options out, and if you guys could tell me what they say. I'll be adding this stuff. So, all right, Rob, what's the first thing I should add? What's one of your picks here? What should be a topic?
Knives.
He's telling you, and I'm seconding his motion.
Knives?
Knives, yeah.
All right.
I can come back for that one.
All right. Bub?
How about board games?
Oh.
Ooh. That may need a space, but I don't care. All right. Chat. Does anyone in the chat have a suggestion to put on the wheel?
Barb is thirding knives.
He's okay. 30 knives. All right. Anyone else have anything to add in the chat? Just any topic. I honestly don't care. I mean, we're a part of the comic book community, so usually some kind of comic book thing will be brought up, but it doesn't have to be comics.
Do you
As
have
you can tell by God and capitalism being two choices.
what about,
Well, you could have a discussion on Thor, so that could count. Vinyl albums. Oh, look at that. Vinyl.
Ooh, vinyl.
Good call.
But I didn't spell that right. How do you spell vinyl?
The same way he did.
Y-L?
Yep. V-Y-N-Y-L.
All right.
That's got to be enough. Spin it.
Well, is there any other suggestions from the chat, or we good to spin it?
I think we're good. I mean, maybe junk food. I don't know. All food's junk food, but favorite snacks. Yeah. Favorite snacks to eat while listening to vinyl, while oiling your guns. And
All right. We are going to shuffle this 4 times. 1,
double it.
2, 3, and 4. And the first one will be
no whammies?
What do I win? Bronze Age.
Bronze Age. I should really be writing these down. All right, Bronze Age. So I will remove that. And let's shuffle this 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm confused.
What?
Aren't you going to do the next show on Bronze Age?
Yeah, I do 2 every month. We got to figure out what the second one is.
Oh, okay.
I just knock them out in one wheel on one night. That way.
Back on board.
Yeah. Okay. And the next topic for February is
This is riveting. Oh boy.
all right. So we had a topic on Jesus before, so it looks like we're going with God this time. Bronze Age and then God. Okay. I did not expect that.
Wow.
All right. Well, so at some point I will have the first one scheduled and then the second one later. They will be done at some point in the month of February. And I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat. We had 10 people at one time watching this. So thanks to everyone who stopped by. Thank you for if anyone's going to be leaving any comments or anything, we appreciate those. This is one of those topics that's, and thank you to Bub and Rob for joining us on the show. Would either one of you, I always ask the guests this before we leave, do either one of you want to come back for either Bronze Age or Gods? Okay.
I would come back for a God discussion.
All right.
Yeah,
Rob, would you like to come back for either one?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Okay, for God?
Yeah. Well.
Okay. Well, it looks like I have my guest for God then. Now I got to find someone for Bronze Age.
I would suggest you book a few more people for the God episode. I would just is it you only do 2 at a time or
no? I can do as many as we want. So I would
find a few more people.
You know what? I think I'm going to sit out and referee and get another 2 people.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool. That's a tough topic. Don't expect to be able to drop the hammer at 59 minutes.
Yeah, well, we shot over hour and 20 for this one.
Oh, was that a pun? I think that was a pun. We shot over on the gun episode. All right,
All right.
congratulations.
Thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks everybody for watching. We're going to be leaving you here. I would, play you out, but I don't have any music. I ain't that fancy.